Let's freaking go. I know we haven't checked out the trailer we're going to be watching today, but I don't care. I know we're going to be amped. So let's freaking go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's me, Addy, again. And boy, oh boy, has this past week been kind of insane when it's come to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth related news and updates. With my favorite game of all time being Final Fantasy VII, and with my hype for Rebirth naturally being through the freaking roof, I figured it's finally time for us to sit down and check out all this awesome stuff. Especially since we now have this time to do so, right? I just finished my 2023 games ranking video, which is up on the YouTube channel now. You guys can check that out if you'd like to. I really do appreciate all of your support. But yeah, now that we're done with that video, it's time for me to continue full steam with my FF7 Road to Rebirth series, where I'm playing through the original Final Fantasy VII and Remake to hype up the imminent release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And in the midst of that, of course, check out all this crazy stuff with you guys. About a week ago now, a brand new trailer dropped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth titled Destined for Rebirth. And I'll admit to you guys, I've actually already gone ahead and seen that trailer. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. I only saw that trailer once because I was a little bit too excited. I was scrolling through Twitter and it popped up on my feed. Everyone was all over this trailer, or everyone was freaking out over it. And knowing me and how much I cannot wait for this game, I just had to check it out. Normally I watch this stuff with you guys as soon as it drops, but I couldn't contain my excitement, all right? It's been about a week, and during that time I was working on my 2023 video, which really made me forget a lot about all the tiny little moments in this trailer. Of course, I remember some of the really exciting moments, but some of the details in between are not fresh in my mind, so it's going to be awesome to get to relive those with you guys here today and get excited for Rebirth. And of course, we're going to try and pick up on some of the really small, minuscule details that I definitely did not catch the first time around and may not catch this time around either. You guys will have to let me know what I miss. But this is one of my favorite parts of doing this, right? Trying to pick up on all these Easter eggs and find signs of what's to come in Rebirth. I cannot freaking wait for this game. In addition to all that, I also want to take a look at all the updates on the Square Enix website about what's to come in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. There have been a bunch of new character renders, a bunch of new details about the juicy mechanics and all that kind of stuff. And I am aware of all of these because I saw them on my Twitter feed this past week, just like the Destined for Rebirth trailer. But I never really sat down to digest any of that information. I figured that I'd save that for today's video, right? And to top it all off, I of course want to check out the brand new developer interview that dropped, that was held by Game Informer, where the director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Naoki Hamaguchi, was asked a series of rapid-fire questions about the game. I cannot wait to see that. I think that's going to be really fun. And of course, jam-packed with amazing details about the game. So this might be a bit of a longer reaction/analysis video than usual, so grab your snacks, buckle on in, and let's get started. All right, guys, so as you can see, I've queued up the Destined for Rebirth trailer, and I could not be more excited to check this out. I know it's only a minute long, but from what I remember when I watched this thing in the heat of the moment, in my excitement on Twitter, this was a goddamn sweet 1 minute worth of incredible gameplay footage and story moments. And yeah, before I become a certified yapper, I'm going to start this up. We're going to watch this twice. The first time, we're just going to freak out over it. The second time, we're going to slow things down, see what we see, find what we find. You know the drill. Let's go. Starting with Sephiroth, of course. Oh, I forgot about that random dude in Nibelheim that they showed when I first saw this. Oh my god.
This place.
It was Sephiroth.
He wants to finish.
Oh fuck. Junon, man. It looks so good.
You coming?
The Junon parade.
Ahead of ya.
Oh, this game's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good.
We have to help them.
The music. Those who fight, baby. Fight him, Sifa.
Let's get to work.
Oh my god. The Midgar Solemn. I fucking forgot they showed that. I remember this.
Handle this.
Everyone freaked out over that part.
Reclaim our world.
Oh my god. Let's go, man. That's how you do a minute-long trailer. And one thing I really want to say here, you guys, Square Enix seem to have learned their lesson from Final Fantasy VII Remake when it comes to spoilery trailers. I know leading up to that game's release, there was a very similar trailer to this one, which was chock full of spoilers, right? And while you could sort of make the same argument for this one, I would say that you could, but to a lesser degree, because what's shown off here in no way, shape, or form kind of ruins certain moments, right? I think this is the perfect trailer leading up to Rebirth's imminent release. in 1 minute, right? It's crazy how much exciting stuff they jam-packed in here just to get us in the element, right? Just to get us excited without spoiling really anything. And the music, man, freaking those who fight is so good in this.
It was Sephiroth.
It's so good.
It can't be.
And the fucking, man, I completely forgot about the fact that they showed off the Midgar Zolom, bro. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I watched this only once. It's a short trailer. You see it once, you see it 7 days ago. There are gonna be a couple things here and there you definitely forget, right? And I don't know, but somehow the literal biggest thing in this trailer is what I forgot. I'm kind of glad I did. I'll be honest, I'm glad I did. Because look at it, man, it's so sick. And I think Cloud, what does Cloud say here?
Let's get to work.
Freaking badass. It's so cool. Let's get to work, he says. Right? I just love how they're taking the parts from the original, which justifiably, right, were not as eventful. And they're turning them into these huge hype-induced spectacles, right? They're just going to be so badass. I'm going to be jumping up and down in my seat when I play this game. You know, getting to the marshes and Cloud just seeing that Midgar Zolom after presumably getting here with the Chocobo and going, all right, let's kick some ass. I thought, okay, and I promise this is probably the last thing I'm going to talk about before we do a short frame-by-frame-ish sort of thing afterwards. I always thought, in the for what it's worth category, that leading up to this game, the Midgar Zolom fight wasn't actually going to be a fight. I thought it would be like a giant set piece where you're trying to outrun the Midgar Zolom on Chocobo back, right? And then you could like turn around and see how massive and imposing it is and how it's just hell-bent on chasing you down and devouring you. And you have to like get into the caves and then they all like crumble behind you and there's no way to get out. And the Midgar Zolom tries to like, you know, ram its head through the cave entrance trying to get at you, but you've successfully eluded it. I thought that could have been something sick, but what's even better is fighting it, right? So hell yeah, I'm down, and hey, that's something that they still might be able to do, so who knows, right? But anywho's, I just wanted to go back to that Midgar Zolom part right there before our proper sort of analysis here, just because it really stood out to me, right? I'd forgotten about this part from when I first saw this a week ago. Anywho's, let's go back to the beginning. Of course, this trailer starts with Sephiroth. That's the only way to start a Final Fantasy VII trailer, my friends. If you're not starting an FF7 trailer with Sephiroth, you're doing something wrong.
Sephiroth.
God damn, the Nibelheim incident is going to be so good. I hope they open with it, right? I really hope they open with the Nibelheim segment. And I love this. I love this because I saw someone on Twitter who posted a picture of the farmer from the beginning of Dragon Ball Z who Raditz literally just bodies in the blink of an eye.
Oh God, no, my marijuana patch. My carrot patch. Yeah.
Right, that puny human farmer with the shotgun. And he made a comparison to this guy from this Rebirth trailer. This is a funny looking Nibelheim citizen, and sorry I'm saying that because I know that he's going to go through a very unfortunate incident right here. It's probably happened right there. Rest in peace. Oh my god, man. And this what's cool is we actually have seen this in the Summer Games Fest trailer, right? This is, according to a lot of theory crafters and me as well, I definitely think that this is something that's happening, and we're gonna have to play the game to find out if that's the case. What I think is going on here is this is Zack's timeline. I do believe in the timeline stuff. Also, this part might get a little spoilery for the original Final Fantasy VII potential spoiler stuff, so do be warned about that. But yeah, I think that this is Zack's timeline. I think that when the party reached the end of the highway in Remake, at the end of that game, and they went into this other dimension where they had to fight Sephiroth, that tornado that was created, that they entered, right, was a actual tornado that wreaked havoc in the parallel timeline where Zack lived. And this is the catastrophe we're essentially witnessing. And that little flash there that we saw right here before the crazy motorcycle stuff. I like how I'm saying crazy motorcycle. Is literally what it's referred to with the Cloud motorbike segment in FF7. But yeah, with regards to this stuff, we saw a snippet of this in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's like a premonition that Cloud has when he's in that Shinra virtual reality room where he's seeing the history of the Cetra and the planet, right? And all of a sudden it morphs into this premonition of what Sephiroth's about to do. I think it's that same exact scene. And then we cut to what I think, right? I immediately remember this upon seeing it right now. There's another standout part from the trailer when I saw it 7 days ago on Twitter. My immediate thought is it's again Zack's timeline. I think that, like I was saying earlier, Sephiroth created that tornado, sent the party to fight him in that alternate dimension, and over here, what we're seeing is the actual physical tornado that is rooted in reality, wreaking havoc through Zack's timeline and all of these Shinra troops on the highway. What it also could potentially be, right? What I'm thinking here is it could either be that, or it could still be Cloud's timeline itself. And while Cloud and his party entered that rift in the tornado Sephiroth created, the troops that were chasing them down the highway probably ran into this, right? This is probably what they see from their POV, right? After Cloud and the party enter the insane, bizarre dimension to fight Sephiroth.
What happened to
Here's the iconic Zack carrying Cloud part from the remake continuity. Let's listen to what they say.
this place?
It was Sephiroth.
So, I'm assuming what's going on here is this is the classic red herring where they're making us think that Zack and Tifa are having a conversation, but they're not. Tifa's probably responding to someone else, and Zack's probably questioning someone else. I think Zack is asking about, obviously, what happened to Midgar after witnessing the destruction caused by the tornado. And then, what does Tifa say here again?
It was Sephiroth.
Oh, Sephiroth. She's probably... this is probably taking place in Com, right? Just going off of what little we can see of the background. I'm assuming this is in the Com Inn, and this is during the flashback segment where Cloud is recounting everything that happened 5 years ago with Sephiroth, and Tifa's kind of adding to the story or something. I don't know, though. We'll have to see. I don't think that she's responding to Zack, because if that were the case, that would kind of defy everything about the theory that myself and a lot of other people believe in, which is that the timeline where we see the tornado is the one with Zack, where everyone is on the hospital stretchers being carried into helicopters and they are presumably dead, right? So if Tifa's dead in that timeline, how can she be talking to Zack, you know? But we'll see. I have no idea. You guys got to let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, and then this is so interesting. Like, what is Sephiroth holding here? Is that a piece of Jenova? I'd assume so, right? It might be, or it could just be Jenova manifesting herself as Sephiroth like she did in the OG, and I don't know, holding a part of herself. I don't, it looks very fleshy, right? And it actually looks like something bizarre and Eldritchian and something that could be a part of Jenova. So I'm assuming it's some Jenova Roth shit, right? Jenova Roth being up to no good.
It can't be.
It can't be. This is kind of interesting too. So
He wants to fit.
I'm sorry, where is Barrett saying this?
It can't be.
Trying to identify where they are based on the backgrounds. It looks like it could be a brand new area we haven't seen, of course, in one of the larger areas from the original. This could be in the Gold Saucer where the stage is, right? Where they do the plays and stuff like that. But I don't know, because it just doesn't seem all that colorful and jaunty looking. So we'll have to see. I don't know who Barrett is talking to here, what he's reacting to. Could be something from the original, could be something brand new. Latter is the likelier thing. We'll have to see. It could be Sephiroth on the boat to Costa del Sol as well, or Jenova or something. It has to be something he hasn't seen before, though. I don't know. We'll see. You guys are gonna let me know in your in the comments below what your thoughts are as well. For those of you who'd like to.
He wants to finish with.
Oh my god! And I freaking love this for some reason, dude. I know we've seen this so many times, but just look at it, right? We've seen this before. We've seen what it's gonna look like in Rebirth. But just freaking what I love so much about you guys, about everything that's been coming out about what's going to be in this game, is just the fact that it looks bigger, better, and crazier than anything we could have ever imagined. And what we probably imagined was already pretty big and crazy. And this welcoming ceremony portion for Rufus, is going to blow me away. It already is, and I really hope that we can do everything we did and more from the original. Like, enter every single one of these buildings, go in the shops, meet the people, see the secret Turks club, right? All that kind of stuff. And man, I freaking love seeing the high wind up there, and there's another huge, mega, amazing ship in the background too. So much awesome stuff. Also, let's see if we can spot any interesting things here too. Okay, so there's a bunch of Shinra troops, of course, and I hope, obviously, they're going to keep the minigame in where Cloud has to dress up in his infantryman outfit, which we saw in the last trailer. It's pretty much confirmed. And you know that he has to run into the back line, sneak into it, and I hope it's there, and I hope it's like a million times bigger and better, which I have no doubt it will be if the precedent that remake set is anything to go by. So cool. And oh wait, hang on, who is this? I think that's freaking Roach. That has to be Roach in the background there, right? He's back. I mean, we knew he would be back, right? They haven't resolved his storyline. But damn, that's kind of cool. I just noticed that because yeah, here's a weird thing, right? His bike to me stood out more than him. I mean, probably because it's red and colorful. I'm silly. It is red, blue, has the lights and everything. For some reason, I remember his bike really well. It could be because of my resub alert animation, which is Cloud hopping off his bike in remake and doing that twirly smash attack with his buster sword on the hood of Roach's bike. That's probably why it's ingrained into my brain. I see that from time to time while I'm streaming.
I'm back.
But that's got to be Roach. That's so cool.
And rule over the planet.
Let's see what Cloud's saying.
He wants to finish what he started and rule over the planet.
He wants to finish what he started and rule over the planet. Yeah, that's a Sephiroth just being up to no good as usual, just like in the original. And in the remake continuity, presumably he wants to do that and more, right? He actually wants to. There's something bizarre going on where he seems to be aware of what's happened and he wants to change things that happened in the original so he can win this time around and actually become the god he wanted to be.
You coming?
Way ahead of ya!
This is where shit just gets so hype, man. And I think when we saw this today, the first time, I was like, this game's gonna be so good at this part, right? Just the way the music kicks in. Oh man, like following Barrett's line here.
You coming?
Way ahead of ya!
Ah man, chills every time. It's such a well-directed trailer, you guys. It's so good. Fighting this, I'm so glad we're playing the OG FF7 again because so many of these moments from the original are now very fresh in my mind once again, and I'm gonna just like have that perspective going into Rebirth and be able to enjoy what I'm gonna enjoy in Rebirth a million times more because I can go, wow, you know, these parts of the original have been made this much better, you know. So this is a great example of that. The fight against this giant aquatic monster, which, god dang it, I played the original so recently and I still can't remember his name. And in my defense, it's because I probably didn't use sense on him. The only way to really, I think, find out, or no, that's not true. You can just hit the select button. I'm silly. I could have easily just hit the select button on this enemy to find out his name. Point is, I don't remember his name, even though I played the original very, very recently and I'm still playing through it. Shame on me.
We have to help them!
Let's get to work.
Oh my god, and what's happening there? And when Tifa says we have to help them, wait, where's this happening? Is this tied to that? What's she saying? We have to help them. This could be anywhere, right? Tifa doing some crazy badass shit as always. One of my favorite characters in Final Fantasy VII. For many, many reasons. One of them being the fact that she is a badass brawler.
Let's get to work.
Okay, and what is that attack, man? Just seeing the party here, by the way. Seeing the party lined up. Oh, it's so good. And we haven't even seen the half of it. Like, so many more characters to come. I can't wait at this point in the game. Yeah, but dude, like the Marshas, they look about what I imagined they would in my mind leading up to this game, in the years leading up to it. Probably even before Remake was announced, and I picture what this area would be like. It was something like this with these twisty, contorted, dead trees and just a really bleak, horrible atmosphere, right? Like very foggy. And they've nailed it, man. They freaking nailed the aesthetic and environmental design of this game. So good. So good.
Work.
Sorry, I keep skipping over this. What is that? Low bit rate. He's probably doing some new move. I don't know why I'm obsessed with trying to see what it is. I'm gonna experience it myself in like, damn it, I wish I could say less than a month, but still a little over a month. But we're getting there. We're almost there.
You are truly
Those destined. Hojo, of course. Hojo the hobo.
a model soldier.
Truly are a what?
A model soldier.
Oh, you're truly a marvelous soldier. Yeah, this is so interesting, by the way. And again, spoilers for OG and Remake. I apologize. I might not have mentioned spoilers for Remake earlier, but yeah, spoilers for everything, okay? The fact that Hojo in FF7 Remake reveals to Cloud that he was never in Soldier that early. Oh man, that's gonna lead to some interesting things happening. And the fact that Hojo is way more involved in this game with observing Cloud and what he's doing and what his mad science creation essentially is capable of, and trying to see whether the Genova reunion theory is coming true. Is this going to be such an interesting angle in this game?
A model soldier.
Can't wait. And here it is. The most talked about part of this trailer, right? And the most epic one, right? Cloud yelling at the top of his lungs. Tifa, right? It's so good. The voice acting is amazing. Cody Christian has been consistently knocking it out of the park, so props to him, and honestly props to everyone else too. I think the voice cast is fantastic, even for some of the characters who I may not have been so big on initially, but they definitely started to grow on me, and I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, the voice cast is solid. And after seeing this trailer, man, and a bunch of the other stuff that's been coming out more recently, I'm even more confident that I freaking love these performances and the way that these characters have been brought to life. So hell yeah. I think that's the most emotion we have seen out of Cloud in the Remake continuity up until now, and I'm all for it. It's gonna be so good. But what is happening to Tifa? So she is falling in. Tifa! I mean, hey, dude. If I were there, I would be freaking out too. It's freaking Tifa we're talking about. She's falling into what looks to be a live stream, and this is like, I know I keep saying this, but this is the actual crazy part of the trailer. Like, goddamn, that has to be a freaking weapon. It has to be. There's no way that's not a new weapon. It's got to be one of Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, one of their bros, right? They're bros from another Mose. I don't know what gemstone this is going to be based on, if it's an actual weapon spawned by the planet, but it seems to be aquatic based, kind of like Emerald. The really interesting thing is I think that this is the same as the one we saw Tifa swimming around with in the previous trailer that we saw, right? Which I thought was taking place. I'm actually going to cut to it right now. Hold on. Okay, so here's that trailer I was talking about. This is the release date announcement trailer from the State of Play. I actually completely forgot about... There have been so many trailers that have been coming out for FF7 Rebirth. They've all kind of jumbled together in my mind. So the reason I've stopped at this frame is because I apologize. I think a little bit earlier I said that the latest one is our first time seeing the Zalem. It was actually this one. And I've already seen it before, and in a way more epic way too. Like, there you guys go. So yeah, okay, it's been a long year. All right, 2023, there was a lot that happened. Okay, there was a lot that happened. A lot of hype, a lot of epic stuff that just jumbled together in my brain, and yeah, I might have forgotten about this epic moment, but hey, you know what? In a way, I'm kind of glad I did, because seeing it again was amazing. Seeing something amazing again when it feels like you're seeing it for the first time is one of the greatest feelings ever. So oh yeah. So much other cool shit too, like the cool saucer minigames and everything. This is probably the most detailed, comprehensive, exhaustive trailer that we've seen for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? But okay, here we go.
A weapon?
Tutelary creatures, said only to appear when the planet is in grave danger.
Bruh, okay, she actually mentions that they're called weapons. Wow, okay, she mentions that they're called weapons in the other trailer. I forgot about that. Okay, I apologize. My analysis got kind of weird towards the end because there were clearly details from this one that I don't remember, even though we checked this out together. But okay, here's a big thing for me, right? The fact that this thing, I thought at the time, just because of the head, I think it was, and the fact that it's underwater here, or definitely the live stream, I thought it was Emerald. It's not Emerald. I think this is a brand new weapon we haven't seen before. Clearly, it's very different looking, and this one makes that very clear. This is not Emerald weapon. This is something brand new, and I think that's friggin' bonkers, because we all thought the weapons were going to be reserved for the third game, and that's what the main focus of the third game was going to be, besides all the other crazy stuff that's going to happen as the resolution. That blows my mind. I did not see that coming. I thought that the weapons we'd be facing off against in the remake continuity would 100% be only the ones you've seen in the OG, and maybe one of them from the compilation, potentially, like Omega, right? Clearly that's not the case. They have given us one weapon specific to Rebirth, or who knows, maybe even more, but I'm gonna keep my expectations like over here, right? Not all the way up here, because that way I can be pleasantly surprised if I'm wrong. It's a nice little primer for what's about to come in part 3, right? I hope he's really hard. I hope he's really freaking hard, right? Instill that fear within us that the weapons gave us in the OG. At least the super boss ones, right? Because I know that the main ones you have to fight aren't as bad. Yeah, this one might factor or might fall under the main ones that we gotta fight. We'll see. Yeah, the main thing about this is we now know how Tifa ended up in that live stream, which was by falling into it. Okay, that's not a whole lot. That's kind of obvious, but okay. I thought, and a couple other people thought too, that in that last trailer, she wasn't literally in the live stream. She was kind of like swimming around in Bugenhagen's simulation, and Red 13 was explaining to her what the weapons are. But no, that narration from Red 13 seems to be... It's like the trick that they do in these trailers where they make it seem like two characters are having a conversation, but they're actually in two completely different places and potentially even talking to other characters. I think it's a case of that, where Red was explaining to Tifa what the weapons are in Bugenhagen's observatory, and later on, she actually falls into the live stream and sees one of them herself, which is what this is, right? Do not fear.
I will reclaim our world.
Probably going to be another boss fight at the end of this game. I think we're going back to that crazy dimension, the Edge of Destiny or whatever it's called, in Rebirth, and I'm all for it. I think having Sephiroth be a boss fight at the end of Remake was such a subversive but such a nice treat, and clearly they're bringing it back. I mean, they have to, right? But they're definitely bringing it back one more time here, clearly, or a couple more times before the ultimate big fight between Cloud and Sephiroth at the very end of this remake continuity, which I cannot wait to see, considering all the wild, wacky, crazy changes they've been implementing into the narrative here, while retaining the core beats of the original. Yeah, guys, that was crazy. That was crazy. That was just about as much that I could get out of that trailer when I applied all my brain cells to the incredibly fun task. And now, of course, like I said earlier, I want to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this. Let me know what you think is going on. Point out any details that I might have missed. We'll be happy to pick up on some new stuff that I didn't see here. Always a good time, right? All right, so here's another thing that, like I was saying at the start of this video, I wanted to take a look at with you folks. That being another preview at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where Square Enix has given us more information about Cait Sith, Yuffie, Elena, and a bunch of other stuff, right? Like I said, I saw snippets of this stuff on Twitter, but I haven't actually visited this page and had a closer look, and I should honestly start doing that more. I regret not having done this more often whenever we checked out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailers and stuff, because as soon as there would be a new trailer for the game, they would almost always update their blog with a bunch of information about the game alongside the trailer that we hadn't seen before, and I would end up reading that after the fact, after checking out these trailers with you guys. But I'm going to change that today. I want to check this out with you folks and see what's to come. There's Cait Sith being Cait Sith on his big stuffed plushie, right? I can't wait to see what they do with this character. We've seen snippets of his new gameplay and stuff like that, but yeah, I can't wait. So here we go. Yeah, start of the new year. What better way to celebrate with a new look at one of 2024's most exciting games? And yeah, there's a teaser that we saw, and February 29th can't come here sooner, man. I need this game. I need it right now. So of course you got multiple regions. Each boasts unique environments for us to explore, and here are the different ones. Man, these pictures look so good. There's something about Junon that just fills me with so much warmth and excitement and joy. I don't know what it is. It could be the fact that I just really liked the location in the original, and to see it like this almost brings a tear to my eye, right? But yeah, anywho, Starboard Junon. Urban residential zone with the fortified metropolis overlooking the ocean, in addition to housing for Shinra personnel, high-end boutiques and restaurants line its streets. And yeah, preparations are underway for Rufus's inauguration. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait to hear what his welcoming ceremony theme is gonna sound like in Rebirth. Shinra 8, yeah, so this is a picture I saw on Twitter. Again, it's so cool. I never saw this coming. Whenever I'd imagine how they would redo parts of the original in a remake continuity, I never imagined it would be something like this, and I love this direction, right? Turning this into, before we reread this, into basically this vacation cruise ship. Which in the original was like kind of a cargo ship, but yeah, of course they've completely changed that here. So yeah, there we go, a Shinra cruise ship that ferries travelers between the planet's eastern and western continents. Yeah, between Junon and Costa del Sol, like in the OG, but it looks so nice and funky and less, you know, depressive, right? The only thing that was jaunty about this ship in the original game, guys, was the music, and that was about it. But I can't wait. I think something tells me, here's a funny little hunch that I have. I don't think they're going to be playing a remix version of the ship theme when we're on it in the in Rebirth. I think they're going to play a brand new one. I think it's going to be different, and they might use that original ship theme somewhere else for something else. And I'm basing this off of FF7 Remake, where they play the original Wall Market theme from 7, not in Wall Market, but before you reach it and in the tunnels around it in Sector 6, or the highway, I'm sorry, where they play this remixed theme called Do You Recompense, which is so freaking cool. I can't wait to play Remake again before Rebirth comes out. One of the chief reasons for that being that we get to hear that song, right? 100%. So good. So I, for some reason, have this hunch they're going to approach this in a very similar fashion with the music. Of course, Kate and Moogle are now new characters in this game. This gregarious catfight from atop his sturdy Moogle mount, who provides both mobility and support during battle. For some reason, I always describe this scenario, this situation, as Cade Sith on top of his giant plushie. I never call it a Moogle because I'm sorry, but I don't see the resemblance. What the heck is that? The only thing is it's got white fur, and that's about it. When Kate's not duking it out, his high-tech helper aids him in hacking computer systems and telling fortunes. Oh, shit. That's pretty fucking cool. So they're making his Moogle, all right, I'll call it a Moogle, okay? They're making his Moogle a hacker. That's going to be so interesting. And here's Elena. She's looking a lot better. I already liked her appearance a lot in the trailer that debuted her for Rebirth, but I agreed with a lot of other people's opinions, which is that she looks a lot like Tifa, weirdly. It's almost like they used the same character model and just gave her blonde hair. But in this new render, they seem to be fixing that and kind of giving her her own unique look. I'm not gonna lie, I really liked her look in Advent Children and even Ever Crisis. I haven't played that game in a while, but I have seen some screenshots on Twitter of her in Ever Crisis. She's a new character in that game now, the mobile game, and she retains her appearance largely from Advent Children. It's inspired by that design, seemingly. I kind of wish they had leaned more towards that for Elena, just because it makes her look a little bit more unique. This is a much better design, though, and I'm only saying all this is such a small nitpick, just because every time I see her, man, and less so now with this new render, she just reminds me of blonde Tifa. Like, there you go. It's definitely a little... I don't know if they've improved it all that much. If they've improved it all, it looks like they have. This is a little better, but I can't unsee it. Like, block off the blonde hair, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Maybe, right? The different colored eyes obviously help. Though she may be a rookie, she's a skill with her fists and a gun, as anyone else in the Turks unit of Shinra's General Affairs Division. Yeah, I can't wait to see and hear Elena in this game. She's one of the most entertaining parts of OG FF7. She's such a klutz. It's really funny seeing her in action. She and her partner Rude are tasked with pursuing the black robe figures, which she is more than happy to do if it means being assigned a mission with Sung. New characters. Okay, I actually have never seen this man in my entire life. I swear to God. I'm guessing he's the captain of the cruise ship, right? The captain of the Shinra 8, yeah, responsible for overseeing safe passage for all who travel between Junon and Costa del Sol. He's earned a sterling reputation amongst his crew thanks to his unerring devotion to his duties. Very cool. All right. yeah, one of the many new characters they've been adding into the remake continuity and in places we've been to and seen just to spice things up. I think the biggest example of that was the wall market scenario in remakes. There's so many new players, right? So many new characters. It was so cool. I love seeing that in remake with wall market. Okay, so combat. Seeing this screenshot floating around. Next up, let's take a look at what some of the new additions to the party can do in battle. I'm trying my best to remember exactly how Yuffie and Co worked. Mechanically, it's been a while since I played remake, so I'm happy I'm about to do so again very shortly, just so once again, going into Rebirth, a lot of the stuff can be fresh in my mind from the previous games, and that way I can be even more amazed. Okay, I just had to look at what Yuffie could do in intermission, and yeah, she's largely the same, and I kind of misread this, I apologize. It's saying, let's look at what some of the new additions to the party can do in battle. Not, I somehow misread that as new abilities or something, I apologize. But yeah, so largely it's the same for Yuffie. These are all things she could do in intermission. Of course, she had her star, and of course, the doppelganger thing is what's brand new here. So yeah, basic attacks. Yuffie quickly strikes foes with a large throwing star. The speed with which she attacks allows you to charge A to B faster than most. Okay, that's cool. Ninjutsu was in Integrator. I'm sorry, the intermission expansion with Yuffie, right? She could hit foes with elemental ninjutsu alongside Sonin. The synergy stuff was awesome, which as I understand it, they're expanding upon here. But she also has this, yeah, this is new. Her doppelganger ability allows her to attack in tandem with her clone, enabling her to exploit enemies' weaknesses even more effectively. That's so sick. It's so cool, and it's so Yuffie, you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of people commenting that this is so in character for Yuffie to do, just having these clones of herself she can create as part of her kit, which is all about being agile and sneaky and dexterous and that sort of thing. Such a cool addition. I'm looking forward to playing Yuffie in this one. Unique ability. Hurling her throwing stars at enemies allows Yuffie to keep up the pressure from a distance. I remember that. What else? So yeah, when her star's out, she can also pelt her foes with ninjutsu. Whatever element her target's weak against, Yuffie has a ninjutsu spell for it. Anyways, let's move on. So now we've got Cait Sith. Now for a fact, we know everything's brand spanking new about this lad, because he wasn't even a character before. So here's what he's got. Basic attacks. The dude darts around the battlefield with the agility of an acrobat or perhaps a cat, assailing enemies from every side. When he wants to switch things up, he brings out his Moogle Pal, changing his attacks. That's so cool. So he basically just runs around real fast, pounces on everyone, pounces on everything. So then when you hit triangle, yeah, that makes so much sense. It's to hop onto his Moogle. And when he hops onto the Moogle, I'm guessing he does more heavy stuff. Let's see. Cait Sith exclusive moves can hurt enemies or buff allies, but most rely on luck in some way. Let's Ride, however, allows him to hop on his Moogle, enhancing his regular attacks and his unique abilities. Very cool. So yeah, so this is interesting because they are keeping the aspect of the original, which people were like very mixed on. People largely didn't like this kind of stuff. They're keeping the aspect of the original where he's kind of luck based and he can either help or hinder his allies. I'm hoping that, like, even though this is in the game, they found some way to make it not as frustrating as in the original, you know? Let's Ride, however, allows him to hop on his Moogle, enhancing his regular attacks and his unique abilities. So what are these unique abilities? Well, while riding his Moogle, Cait Sith can give enemies the boot with dropkick. Okay, so it's like basically heavier damage, heavier, slower attacks, I'm guessing. Once his Moogle's attacks have filled a Moogle meter, he can also buff his companions with abilities like defense. I get it. So it's a happy little medium here, where when you're on the Moogle, you can use some abilities that are guaranteed to help your party out, but when he's on his own doing his own thing, right, he's gonna kind of be doing, yeah, literally that, his own thing. You know, you're gonna be controlling him, but he's gonna be doing his own thing, being the mischievous, up to no good cat that he is, either helping or hindering. Very interesting. That's a great way so far, from what I'm understanding, to keep like the elements of the classic OG FF7, which largely people weren't a huge fan of, while also kind of remedying them in some way and trying to kind of make Cait a more fun to play and accessible character, which I can definitely appreciate. Very cool. Okay, so synergy abilities, of course, we all saw this coming, seeing these in the trailers, expanding on the Yuffie Sonin stuff, except with the main cast. So synergy abilities are powerful attacks in which two characters team up to turn the tide of battle. More abilities will unlock as you increase the party level, a numerical expression of how closely knit your team is, and deepen the affinity between party members. That's so cool, man. And I guess it's like, yeah, so it's saying because of how closely knit they are, The more you use certain combos of characters, the more abilities you unlock for those combos. Oh my god, it just opens so many. I hope there's a unique synergy move for every possible combination of characters, and multiple ones at that. That would make things so fun and varied and replayable. So yeah, fill the synergy gauge by using abilities, then unleash a synchronized assault. That's so cool. Moogle Pinwheel, synergy abilities / Yuffie and Kate Sith. So yeah, this is Yuffie and Kate Sith in action with their unique synergy attack. Attack in tandem with a secret ninja technique, and that's all there is to that. Okay, so they're basically just going over what Yuffie and Kate can do. I'm wondering if they already posted an article about Red, maybe, and I kind of missed it. Let me go have a look. Bro, okay, they did all the way back in September. I know this isn't the focus of the video. I know I said we would only check out the latest trailer and the latest news updates, but I guess we can spend a quick second looking at Red 13. We'll kind of quickly skim over this. I just want to kind of see his abilities, even though some of them might be self-explanatory. I just want to know the nitty-gritty details of how they factor into the mechanics of the remake continuity. Okay, so of course he's extremely fun. He's the bestest boy. Here he is. He's on my sacred mic spot, right? That's how epic and how fun the bestest of best boys is. So yeah, what's his fighting style? It's aggressively defensive. Interesting. So guarding against attacks increases Red's vengeance gauge by pressing... I think I've heard about this. Yeah, so by pressing triangle, you activate vengeance mode, which increases his speed and attack power. So interesting, man. So while in vengeance mode, you can also press triangle to siphon enemy HP. Oh shit. Vengeance mode lasts as long as there's charge in the gauge, and you can activate it at any time, no matter how full it is. Naturally, though, you'll want to fill up a good amount of charge so you can really go to town on your foes. That's so cool. So basically, you charge up enough of this gauge, you hit triangle, and then you get a bunch of buffs to attack, defense, and attack and speed, right? And you can also steal enemy HP. Kind of sick. So he's a beast. Yep. Beast class. So here's some of his abilities. Red 13 leaps into the air to deliver a punishing blow from above. Sidewinder, Sentinel stance, this guards against attacks and greatly increases the vengeance gauge in the process. If you press square, Red will also deliver a powerful counterattack. Oh shit. That's very cool. Love counterattacking. It's a tremendously useful ability that lets you turn the tables on enemies very quickly. So sick. Stardust Ray, that's one of his limit breaks from the original. This unleashes a devastating attack over a wide area, uses 2 ATB charges, but boy is it worth it. Crescent Claw, Red charges at or slashes at a foe. If you do this in vengeance mode and deplete the gauge, you'll dramatically increase the potency and range. Plus, it feels super satisfying when you do it. Sure it does. Yeah, man, he sounds so fun to play. I love these like really aggressive style of characters. And here's the best for last, right? Limit breaks. His limit breaks are Blood Fang, so he charges forward in an animalistic rage, bathing in foes' blood and restoring HP and MP. I think there was something like that in the original FF7 as well. I know like some of his limit breaks involve him like riding right into the enemies, like charging right into them. I don't remember if he had this restore HP and MP thing though. I might have to... I'm gonna, on my next stream of FF7, probably play Red and Kate actually, just to get a nice grasp on what the characters are like. Maybe even Yuffie, right? Even though I've played her a whole bunch in the past in Final Fantasy VII, I might play Red and Kate just to get a good grasp of them to see how epic the changes are going to feel when I play Rebirth, right? They're fresh in my mind that way. But anywho, so then he has Howling Moon, which, yeah, I remember that's also a limit break he has, right? House of the Moon above, activating a longer lasting vengeance mode. Interesting. Okay, so it's a limit break that's kind of just a buff for his vengeance mode. Neat. But I do remember this, the Howling to the Moon above thing, which was a part of his Cosmo memory limit. Was it part of his final limit break in the OG? I don't remember. You guys are gonna have to let me know. Synergy, so much cool stuff here. So Red and Aerith, Planetary Roar. So she channels her magic through Red's Howl, unleashing a range attack across a wide area, and also raises the character's limit levels. That's so cool. Red and Cloud Savage Assault. Cloud and Red channel their burning anger into an enemy. Also raises their limit levels, and yeah, this one raises the limit levels too, and it's between Red and Barrett. Barrett sends Red flying towards an enemy at high velocity. How much you want to bet he jumps off the gun, right? He's gonna like jump right off that thing. I'm all for it. Can't wait. Can't freaking wait. Final thoughts? You only need to write like 3 words here. This is badass. Alright guys, so that's about it for the news updates on the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that on the Square Enix website. Now the last thing I want to do here, like I said at the start of the video, is of course check out the interview with Naoki Hamaguchi that was posted 3 days ago. Alright, here we go. I got this queued up. It is 60 minutes long, so not the shortest interview in the world, but hey, the longer the better. The longer, the more detailed. Cannot wait to see what this man has to say about this game. It's going to be good, especially since it's rapid fire. It's going to be entertaining. I've seen some of these before.
Are you
let's
a good
go.
Sport?
まあケースバイケースかな。
What's the best remake in gaming history?
リメイクFF7 リメイク。
Let's go, my man.
Why did you want to change certain story details with Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
原作を知っているユーザーにも楽しんでもらうためですね。
Do these changes make this a multiverse story?
それはお答えできないですね。
What's the best multiverse
Good
piece
answer.
of media?
スパイダーマンは素晴らしいですね。
What was that thing in Remake that kept trying to keep the story elements the same called?
ウィスパー。
What were the things in the Final Fantasy VII Remake that kept trying to keep the story the same?
Whisper.
What does it mean now that
That's funny. That's pretty funny. I like this guy. I haven't seen a whole lot of interviews with Hamaguchi. I've seen him like on stage and stuff talking about the game, but this is good. I like this guy. I like what he's saying about the game so far. Entertaining. And I'm hoping we learn some stuff maybe that we didn't know before, even though his lips are probably going to be as sealed as he can make them, you know?
the whispers are gone?
それはリバースをお楽しみ
Yeah,
に
of
してくだ
course. That's largely going to be like
Does it at least
90% of
mean
the
that catching
interview.
a chocobo is easier this time around?
さい。人によるかもしれないですね、そこは。
Are all chocobos the same in Rebirth?
チョコボによって能力は異なります。
What kinds of abilities can chocobos have?
はい、まあ空を飛べたり、山を登ったり、
Of course.
海を登ったり。
Let's go. I can't wait for the chocobo stuff.
Do all the chocobos smell the same?
私は似ていると思っていますね。
Do they smell pretty bad?
馬に近いと私は思っています。
How faithfully does the story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth follow the original?
大きい意味では非常に忠実になぞっていると思います。
So I like to hear.
Zack's still around.
難しい質問ですね。どうやってきてるんでしょうかね。
How does Zack being around affect Cloud?
そうですね。まあクラウドというより、まあこの FF7 の世界全体に対してこう、まあ、ザックスを通していろんな問いかけをしています。
Why isn't Crisis Core
Man's
Reunion part
asking.
of the Final Fantasy VII Remake canon?
まあ、リメイク自体は他の今のコンピレーションしている作品とは違う独立した世界設定で描いているからです。
Do you think people
A unique world distinct from the other titles. I mean, we already kind of knew that, but hearing that exact description of what it is coming from him, that's kind of big. It's kind of freaking big. I'm loving this so far, man. He's asking he's asking questions that have been on everyone's mind, that like mysteries that we want the answers to. And I love that, right? It's so interesting seeing how he answers them and what he says, more importantly.
would still benefit from playing Crisis Core Reunion in order to learn more about Zack?
Of course.
You ever just listen
That's so fascinating to me. I mean, it was kind of obvious, but the fact that they want us to know what happens with Zack and Cloud's true past before we actually end up getting around to that part in FF7 Remake's continuity. And they don't actually want that, seemingly, to be as big of a plot twist as it was in the original FF7. So yeah, very, very fascinating.
You ever just listen to Final Fantasy music?
はい、もちろんあります。学生の頃マイバイブルでした。バイブルって言うのかな
Good man. He was vibing in that FF7 music.
学生の頃
Or just FF music in general.
よく使っていましたね。
What's the best Final Fantasy soundtrack?
もう FF7 のサウンドトラックをものすごく
Same here.
How does the remake series being split across multiple games affect the overall experience?
やっぱり FF7 の非常に大きいストーリー世界観っていうのをちゃんと忠実に表現できるというところが一番のメリットだと思います。
What is the best direct sequel in Final Fantasy history?
私が関わったライトニングリターン
Oh, cool.
ファイナ
Okay.
ルファンタジー
Didn't know he worked on that.
とてもいい作品だと思っています。
Did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth really need to be on multiple discs, or did you just do that for nostalgia?
まあ両方ですね。
Were there
Both
any
good
other
answer.
games in the Final Fantasy series that the team considered to remake before settling on 7?
北瀬は検討していたと思います。
Oh,
Do you think we'll ever
That's a
get
good
Final
question.
Fantasy X-3?
私もプレイしてみたいですね。
Can you do your best Tidus laugh?
Bro, these are the most cryptic answers. I love it.
ティーダどう笑ったっけ？ティーダどう笑う？
Best
I
Tidus
can
laugh.
bring it up if we want to do.
I gotta play
こんなん
FF7.
笑ってたっけ？
I know of this. I haven't played the game. It is pretty funny.
What's the silliest moment in Final Fantasy history?
ファイナルファンタジー6のケフカはすごく
Sure, he's the villain, right?
好きなキャラクターですね。面白おかしいキャラクターとして。
What's your favorite moment from the original Final Fantasy VII?
一番こう記憶に残ってるのはやっぱりこうエアリスのワスラルル都のシーンですね。
What was your favorite moment in Final Fantasy VII Remake?
コルネオの闘技場で
That's a fucking
ヘルハ
banger
ウ
of
ス
a
が
part.
こうボスとして出てきた
That
ところ
was
は
so sick.
一番好きです。
How does Red 13 ride a chocobo?
肉球でがっちりとロープを掴んでます。
Will we see Red
Dude, I-
13 trying to
My favorite thing, because both of those questions were within the same spirit, right? One of the things I love the most about this continuity is how they have taken the comical moments from the original game and have leaned more heavily into them with Final Fantasy VII Remake and these subsequent games coming out. They haven't shied away from them or tried to become too edgy or you know, too serious with anything. They've tried to really embody the spirit with these games of what the original Final Fantasy VII was all about. It was a really dark, sort of moody game, but it had these lighthearted moments in it and these funny, sort of whimsical moments, and I love how they're keeping them in here and sometimes even adding them in places they weren't there in the original, like taking Hell House, a weird, random, wacky, funny basic enemy, turning him into a boss in Remake. They're really trying to retain the essence, like the emotional essence and the tones of the original FF7, which I can really appreciate.
stand on two legs again?
多分皆さんの期待にお答えできると思いますね。
Does anyone in the party comment how weird it is that he tries to ride chocobos and stand on two legs?
Good question.
パーティーいや自然と馴染んでます。
They don't question
What
it.
happens
That's
if
fine.
Red
That's
13's
funny.
tail gets extinguished?
命尽きるんですかねあれは。
Who on the Super Smash Bros. Roster did Cloud get along with the best?
マリオ、
Who do you think annoyed him the most?
ドンキーコング、
How many times did he tell Mario that he was in Soldier?
7回。
Did Sephiroth get along with anybody on
Those are
Smash
funny
Bros.?
ass questions.
セフィロスはもちろんクラウドと仲がいいと思っていました。
What's the wilder crossover? Super Smash Bros. Or Kingdom Hearts?
もちろんキングダムハーツです。私ディズニー大好きです。
What's the best summon in
Haven't
Final
played.
Fantasy history?
私バハムートゼロだっけ？
Bahama Zero is
ゼ
cool.
ロでいいんだっけ？ゼロでいいんだっけあれ？
That's probably
ハイ
Odin.
って言うんだっけ？なんか子供心に
lot of cool
感じに
summons.
憧れてたのをすごく記憶に残っています。
I like
What's the best
Hamaguchi.
Sid in Final Fantasy history?
私
Hamaguchi, he's super upbeat.
FF12 のアルシドはちょっと指導を少しもじりつつすごく独特的な
Sid
キャ
in
ラクターが好
FF12.
きでした
Interesting. Yeah,
Have
there's
you ever
Sids
bought
everywhere.
flowers from someone on the street?
ないですね。
Do you guys have any black materia around here?
あります。
If you could have
Uh-oh.
any materia to use in your daily life, what would you choose?
見破るマテリア。
Why?
やっぱり私いろんな人と関わるんでいろんな人の
That's a good fucking answer.
いろんな情報を知れる
Alright.
魅力的です。
Well played.
インタビューとうまく答えれます。
So you trying to find out my HP?
まあ、イエス。その通り。
Should I be worried?
Fuck.
いやいやものすごい HP が
This is a good ass
これ
interview.
はなかなか手強いなって思ってます。
If you could speak to the planet,
like,
what would
we're-
you say?
日本は
We're naturally, right, as obviously to be expected, not finding out a whole lot about stuff like mysteries and shit we want to know more about with the game. But at the same time, if you're an FF7 fan, man, and you're watching this, it's impossible not to smile while watching it. It's so good. It's just so pure, you know. I like this. I like it a lot.
地震が多いんで地震をやめてほしいですね。
What is your promised land?
私やっぱりこうゲームクリエイターなんでやっぱり皆さんの記憶に残るような作品を作れる未来にを
awesome answer.
目指したいというかそこが目指す地ですかね。
What's your favorite part of Tokyo?
品川私好きです。
What's your favorite place to travel to?
日本だと北海道とかこう海鮮物が美味しいので私好きですね。
What other Final Fantasy game was the biggest inspiration for the remake series?
やっぱ直近自分がやってたファイナルファンタジー13とかはやっぱり自分も関わってたから、
I haven't played it, but I know it's super different.
インスピレーションしたものはあるのかなとは思いますね。
How much product does Cloud use in his hair?
3分の1ぐらいは使わないと硬さにはならないですよ。
One third of the tube, Jesus.
Which Final Fantasy
Not as
character
crazy
has
as
the best
Sephiroth.
hair?
やっぱ男らしくバレットの
I thought he was gonna say Sephiroth.
好きです。
Was Lightning in Final Fantasy XIII inspired by Cloud from Final Fantasy VII?
どうなんだろう。でもおそらくそこはキャラクターなので野村さんがデザインしてるんですけど、多分そこに対してのつながりはないと思う。
Does Cloud realize that his last name is kind of a self-fulfilling
Speaking of like characters, inspired characters, what is he gonna ask if Gohan Super Saiyan from DBZ inspired Cloud? That's the real question we need answered. Come on.
Does Cloud realize that his last name is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy?
クラウド自体は気づいてないはずですね。開発側のメッセージはもちろんありますけど。
Alright, let's be honest. Who is the coolest Final Fantasy protagonist?
セッツァーです。
What's the deal with Final Fantasy characters always losing their memories?
ドラマ性だからですかね。
Which character is the most different between Final Fantasy VII Original and Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
もう一番やっぱザックスじゃないですかね。
If all the Final Fantasy...
Ooh. Character's most different, and he says Zack. That's fucking interesting, man. Okay, so Zack's like my favorite character, right? Besides Cloud. It's they're both in the same tier, all right? Let's say that like I had to put all the characters from FF7 on a tier list. They will both go at the very top. Both my favorite characters, but okay, as my favorite character, right? Zack, the thing about him that makes him so different from the other characters within Final Fantasy VII, he's the kind of character who, even though he is challenged with a lot of tragedies, with a lot of sorrow and a lot of hardships, he doesn't really change, and he holds on to his core beliefs and values about helping the weak, helping the innocent, and being a hero, right? That's what it means to him, helping his best friend in his time of need. And he kind of carries that with him throughout the game. So for him to say Zack is going to be changing, I wouldn't have expected that. I thought like Zack would see these problems happening in Rebirth, but that wouldn't change who he is. Right? And that's what is so interesting about that answer, because essentially he's saying that no, that's not the case. It's mother flippin' Zack, the most stoic of them all, who is steadfast in his values and beliefs, who changes the most.
Which character is the most different between Final Fantasy VII Original and Final Fantasy VII Remake series?
もう一番やっぱザックスじゃないですかね。
If all the Final Fantasy...
okay. He's talking about between the original and remake, but still, like what I'm saying could sort of be applicable. Because I mean, in the original, obviously he was like barely even fleshed out. This was before they even had Crisis Core in mind. He had maybe like 1 or 2 scenes, fewer than like 5 minutes of total screen time in the original. There's very little you get on his character. You don't really have a big read on him. So if we're talking literally just that Zack barring Crisis Core to remake, then of course, right? We're finally fleshing out the character. He's fully voice acted. We're going to see what his role was exactly in Cloud's life. But if we're also factoring in Crisis Core to that answer, that's where shit gets really interesting.
Villains fought each other. Who would come out on top?
ここは私が今リメイクをやってるので、セフィロスでやってほしいですね。
Do we get to play as Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
そうですね。プレイヤブルで。
Fucking hell yeah, man! I can't wait.
Have you heard stories about Final Fantasy VII originally being developed for Nintendo 64?
どうなんだろう。私はわからないです。
Huh.
Okay, well, even that aside, how many cartridges do you think it would take to fit Final Fantasy VII's original game on the N64?
64個じゃないですか。
I think it was around that.
Do you think mainline Final Fantasy games will ever return to Nintendo consoles?
わからないですけど、それもまた魅力的な話ですね。
Does Barrett have a difficult time getting through security at the airport?
いや、クラウドも含めて通れないですね。
Man with a massive
Coming
gun
into the
arm.
remake series, what was the biggest...
One of my favorite things about streaming through Final Fantasy VII Remake was the scene where Barrett, Cloud, and Tifa are trying to get on the train to go bomb the next reactor. And someone came into my chat and they were like, dude with massive gun arm who's like a gazillion feet tall, big, burly, isn't drawing any eyes towards him when they're wanted. There's something's wrong here. I love how it's like such an obvious thing that like everyone would be looking at Barrett and he's like the most conspicuous dude in the room. And I'm sure that Square Enix themselves, this gang here is aware of it, but that it's another one of those things. It's just kind of like comical in a way, and that's why it's there.
Change the team wanted to make.
I love that.
なんか一番は
Just don't
ゲー
question
ム
it.
をアクションにしたいっていうところですね。
Is Rebirth more open than Remake?
はい、間違いないです。
Of course.
Is Rebirth's map bigger than Remake?
I would expect that, right?
はい、もうリメイクのワールドマップはもうこんなぐらいになってると思います。
Yeah, one's a
Are the
linear
side
game,
quests
one's
better
an
in
open
Rebirth?
world. I was talking over the questions, so I'll let you guys hear this.
なってると思います。
Are the side quests better in Rebirth?
そうですね。非常にこうどのリメイクからもそうですし、他のどのタイトルに比べても非常によく作り込まれていると思っています。
Why such a focus on side content this time around?
まあやっぱりワールドマップの体験を原作同様にさせたかったっていうのがあります。
What does Biggs and Wedge still being alive mean for the story?
そうですね。まあ今作はやっぱりいろんなレイヤーがこう絡み合うこう。
Biggs and Wedge being alive. But as far as the players know, Wedge is dead. Wedge dead. They have given us no indication that he's alive, even though he very likely is alive. The last we see him, he gets hurled out of a window from like one of the top stories of the Shinra HQ. So that's very, very dead. So interesting that he asked that and Hamaguchi's answering. Let's see.
The story.
そうですね。まあ今作はやっぱりいろんなレイヤーがこう絡み合うこう展開になっているので、まあそういった意味でもこうその点はこう楽しんでもらいたいところではあります。
Did Jesse make it out of Final Fantasy VII?
He doesn't correct him and say Wedge died, so I guess that's pretty much confirmation he's alive? I don't know.
Remake alive?
私もそう願ってますけどどうでしょう。
We'll
Would you
definitely
ever
see.
go to a restaurant called Sector 7?
Yes.
Bro,
Just be careful
same.
ordering anything that comes on a plate.
気をつけます。
But I assume you would go to a bar called Seventh Heaven.
もちろんコスモキャニオンを頼みます。
Have you ever seen the show Seventh
Or
Heaven?
Cosmo Canyon.
わからないですね。
Have you ever considered putting a secret pinball elevator in the office?
いや面白いですね。ボタンを押したら出てくる。面白い。
Do you have a favorite arcade machine?
私 UFO キャッチャー大好きです。
What's cooler, riding a motorcycle or snowboarding?
スノーボードです。
Bro, I like how we were talking about this the other day on one of my streams. And I think my answer was a motorcycle any day of the week. Sorry, Hamaguchi.
Does Final Fantasy VII Rebirth have snowboarding?
リバースではスノーボードはないです。
Oh,
gold-
fuck. He actually answers that. I think that the fact that we're not going to be snowboarding in Rebirth is pretty big because it takes place right around the same time, the same part of the original that Rebirth is going to end at, right? And a lot of people are speculating that, okay, they might actually shift a couple of the sequences around from the original in Rebirth, including maybe the snowboarding portion, right? Maybe we'll be going up the mountains in the northern continent after the city of the ancients, or before, sorry, instead of after the city of the ancients, and that we'll be able to do the snowboarding stuff before. But no, it looks like if they are going to keep it in at all in the continuity, it'll still come after the city part where what happens.
Gold saucer in Rebirth?
Interesting.
もちろんあります。
Can you play the mini games?
もちろんたくさん
Can't wait for the gold saucer.
されてます。
What's the best mini game in Rebirth?
本当にたくさんミニゲームあるんでどれもしっかり作ってるんですけど。
The card game, bro. Please ask him. I was wondering this the other day. So they're keeping in sorry, not keeping in. They're adding in that new card game called Queen's something. I think I was about to say Queen's Gambit. So the Queen's Hand. I'm gonna have to look that up again. But it looked really interesting. And if it's anything like the Fort Condor one, I mean, the Fort Condor thing was a board game, not a card game. But if it's anything like that in terms of the fun factor, I'm all in. I cannot wait. I really hope they keep the Fort Condor game in still, right? I hope like they had something amazing there with Intermission, and it'll be weird if they only made it for that DLC. So I hope he asks him if the Fort Condor board game is returning, because I so freaking loved that thing, and I'm not even a huge fan of board games.
カードゲームは個人的にやっぱり好きなゲームの一つですかね。
Which mini game from the original Final Fantasy VII received the biggest change for Rebirth?
チョコボレースはやっぱり今風のレーシングゲームにしっ
Chocobo
かりと作り変えているので。
Yeah, it felt like kind of a chore in the original game, right? You did it mainly for chocobo breeding and also getting some rewards which were luck-based for the most part after finishing the races, from what I remember, right? So I hope and it was like really easy to cheat your way through them with the bumpers and triggers trick on the controller. So yeah, obviously like they probably redone them to make them more incentivizing, and I can't wait to see it. We saw a little snippet of what it looked like in one of the trailers, but cannot wait for the full thing, obviously.
原作からだいぶ変わってると思いますね。
Is the CPR minigame still in Rebirth?
あそこはこうちょっと表現を変えてみて、
So it is.
楽しみにしてください。
Does
Or
your
is it?
save data from Remake transfer into Rebirth?
直接的には引き継がないんですけど、
I remember this. Yeah. 実
は
answered
一
this
部で
somewhere.
引き継ぐところもあったりします。
Just how safe can Sephiroth get?
セフィロスはこうなんだかんだ言ってクラウドのこと大好きなんで、結果として常に安全なのかもしれないですね。
I think a certain party member might disagree.
パーティーメンバー
Aerith.
ああ、そういうことか。
Bruh. Wait, what?
結果として常に安全なのかもしれないです。
Did you just like come out and
I
so
think a certain
overtly?
party member might disagree.
パーティーメンバー
Aerith.
もあったりします。
Just how safe can Sephiroth get?
セフィロスはこうなんだかんだ言って
Safer
クラウドのこと大好きなんで、結果として常に安全なのかもしれないですね。
I think a certain party member might disagree.
パーティーメンバー
Aerith.
ああ、そういうことか。
That was so fucking
Yes.
funny, man.
Which mainline Final Fantasy game has
Just comes out and says it, makes it as like obvious as clear as day what the heck is about to happen.
the best combat system?
はい、やっぱりファイナルファンタジー7リメイクのバトルシステムは非常に自信を持って送れるものになっていると思います。
Do you have a favorite fake rumor about the original Final Fantasy VII?
エアリスがなんか生き返るみたいなのはまさによく聞いていましたね。
If you could change your name to
Oh,
any
sorry, that was
Final
a
Fantasy
question.
characters, what would you choose?
ナキ
Were you aware that Genova Chen from that game company changed his name to Genova because of Final Fantasy VII?
知らないそう
I
なん
think I heard something about that.
Would you ever remake Advent Children?
見てみたいですね確かに。
Were you aware that
they
the
are with-
Marvel's director Nia DaCosta used Final Fantasy VII Advent Children as her pitch for the movie?
はい、ニュースになってるの見ました。
Name an emotion.
熱量、
Name a random object.
マウス、
Give me a descriptive word.
美しい、
Name a Square Enix franchise.
クロノトリガー、
What's the strangest game
So I gotta
title
play it.
Square Enix has ever come up with?
レーシングラグーン。
Can you think of a game name that was
Lagoon.
rejected?
それは言えないです。
What if we just made up our own title?
何に対して？
Yeah, we already did it actually. How does
Bruh.
Chrono Trigger Beautiful Passionate Mouse?
そうですね。集英社さんから怒られそうですね。
What is the third game in the
Passionate
remake
Mouse.
series called?
それは野村さんの頭の中に。
They don't even know. Oh
But
shit.
if I guess it, you'll tell me.
The rest
right?
of them don't even know.
それはお答えできないです。
It's like it
Reimagined?
hasn't even been realized yet by Nomura. He's still kind of toying with the ideas.
いまいちかと。
Reframed?
それもなんかしっくりこないですね。
Reloaded?
なんか聞いたことあるような。
Returns?
まだしっくりこないですね。
Cloud Returns?
あ、それでいいかもしれないです
Good
ね。
one.
Aerith Returns?
なんかすごいメッセージ性が込められてますね。
Lightning Returns?
そうしましょ
So not Record Keeper.
う。この時はまだダメです
Record
ね。
keeper, bro.
Revengeance?
リベンジャーズなんかどんどんなんか倫理が
I'll tell you guys what my
What's
favorite
the
one
deal
would
with
be.
guns in Final Fantasy? Sometimes
I think Revival would be my pick. I really like the idea of the third one being called Revival.
they kill someone, other times they just take down a little bit of HP.
あれ私も知りたいんですよね。
What was the biggest point of debate within the team when making Final Fantasy VII Remake?
やっぱりこうどこまでこだわってこう表現を上げるかっていうところはやっぱ議論になりましたね。
Was there an idea for remake that was scrapped because it strayed too far from the original?
その予定はよくありますね。
How do you pronounce this character's name?
ケットシー。
What was up with their cameo?
Kate, wait. Okay, yeah, because I know this sparked a huge debate online, right? You have a lot of people saying it should be pronounced Ketchi because of the Scottish Gaelic pronunciation, but then there are a lot of people who think it should be Kate Sith, right? Especially since I think not long ago, Square Enix themselves came out and said that it's actually going to be pronounced Kate Sith, right? So the whole situation was like really messy, I think. And so over here, it sounds like he's pronouncing it sort of like what it sounds like when you say it in the Scottish Gaelic way.
For remake that was scrapped because it strayed too far. What was up with their cameo in because it strayed too far from the original?
その予定はよくありますね。
How do you pronounce this character's name?
ケットシー。
Ketchi. So yeah, he is pronouncing it Ketchi, even though Square Enix said it's Kate Sith not long ago. So which one is it? I guess the only way we'll know is by playing the game, right? However the characters, I guess, pronounce it in-game is how I will pronounce the character's name. But I will absolutely acknowledge that the original name from the language it's pronounced Ketchi. But as for the specific cat on a Moogle character, we'll have to play Rebirth and find out that way. And whatever they pronounce his name as, I'll go with.
What was up with their cameo in Remake?
あれはこうファンサービスの意味もすごく強いと思います。
What's the best RPG series outside of Final Fantasy?
私はウィッチャーシリーズが好きです。
Witcher's good.
Why did Final Fantasy VI resonate with you so much?
やっぱりこう中学生とかだったんで、自分でゲーム体験、実際に体験できるファンタジーみたいなものってやっぱりその当時なかったので非常に衝撃的でしたね。
Is that one still your favorite?
やっぱり心に残ってる作品ですね。
That's a tough question, man. Because on the one hand, it probably, maybe it is, right? But I feel like you won't want to say it, right? Because of his ties to Final Fantasy VII and how much even that one probably means to him, right? That's tough. Like asking some people, especially if you're a developer in Square Enix and working on this franchise, right? What their favorite Final Fantasy game is probably one of the hardest things for them to answer, right? Easy for us to say. It's easy for the gamers to say which one's their favorite, right? Or maybe not, right? But for the developers, it is 100% one of the hardest questions you can ask them. They'd probably be really conflicted internally about, okay, do I answer what I actually think is the best one I've ever played? Or do I answer the one I'm working on, or the one that I worked on, or one of the ones that I worked on? And I can't wait to play FF6, by the way. I haven't played it, but we're going to change that.
Do you think that most people's favorite Final Fantasy game is the one that got them into the series in the first place?
Great question. I think it is.
かもしれないですね。
100%
その割合は高い気はしますね。
What is the biggest improvement
That was the case for me.
from Remake to Rebirth?
やっぱりユーザーが自ら選択できるゲーム体験っていうところが非常に変わっていると思います。
How do you think people are going to react to that scene? You know the one. How much of Rebirth was developed in parallel with Remake?
開発自体は同時じゃなくすぐスワップしてるんですけど、シナリオは野島さんの方に並行しても書いてもらっていました。
Did you ever just consider calling it Remake 2, or is that just too simple?
そこはなかったです。
Bro,
what do you think
no
the
way.
series would have been called if it wasn't Hironobu Sakaguchi's
That would have been
final
weird.
attempt?
マコ。
Will there ever truly be a Final Fantasy?
難しい質問だな。それは分からないけど、もうこの質問がファイナルでいいんじゃないでしょうかね。
What a boss.
Thank you so much.
大丈夫。
Bruh. What a freaking chat answer at the end. Okay, that was awesome, man. I'm so glad that we checked that out. Well, there you have it, folks. That was a long video. We're close to like 2 hours here with the raw footage. I don't know how long the final cut is going to be for YouTube, but I do know for a fact it's definitely going to be pretty long. Definitely not this long, but still pretty long. But yeah, I'm glad that we got to check out all this stuff today and get even more amped for the imminent release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's going to be such a freaking amazing time. That game is going to consume me, man. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below once again about all this stuff today, about the interview, about the trailer, about trailers plural, because I know we doing a bunch of other ones here and there too that we took a look at a while ago to take another look at. And even like some of the Square Enix stuff on their website about the new gameplay mechanics and that kind of thing. Let me know what you guys thought. We'd love to hear from you folks. It's always a good time discussing possible theories and that kind of jazz for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or anything FF7 related for that matter. So, hell yeah. I really appreciate the discourse with you folks, as always, and also your support. Thank you all so much for those of you in advance who checked this video out, and for those of you who have supported the channel and anything and everything that I do. or have done in the past. Always means the world to me. And like I said, I've been doing a Road to Rebirth series on my Twitch channel where we've been playing the original FF7, and we're going to eventually play Remake, probably throughout a bulk of February leading up to Rebirth's release, to celebrate it, right? So definitely follow me over on twitch.tv/irritableindian if you want to come join and say hi. Would love to see you guys there. But until the next one, folks, stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, keep on keeping on.